It's a great day to be here with you, and this is Planet Earth. Thanks for welcoming us into your day. I'm Jay.
And I'm Keats, and welcome to episode 3 of This is Planet Earth, where we will continue our exploration of Earth caches and give you the skills and confidence to get started finding them.
That's awesome. Yes, this is a sequel of sorts. It's picking up where we left off in episode 2, and I'm very excited to dig into some of this content with you, Keats.
Yeah, likewise, Jay. And so last episode, we explained geocaching and what Earth caching was, and where you can find them.
We did. We also explained some of the great reasons why you should give Earth caching a try if you've not done it yet, or maybe you just try and ignore them.
Yeah, in this episode, we're going to give you the basics you need to know to go and find a few easy Earth caches and to build up your geo confidence.
Geo confidence. I love it. Yes. All right. Well, why don't we start off with that? Who can answer Earth cache questions? Is it an exclusive club of only geologists, Keats?
No, this is for everybody who wants to learn more about geology. So anyone can and should try.
Right on. At the tail end of the last episode, you shared some stuff about difficulty and terrain. Do you want to dig into that a little bit more as we get into this episode?
Indeed, yeah. We'll take a look and at some Earth caches that some of them might not be easy to look at, but once you look at the description, things should be easier. So, yeah.
So if you're getting started, I guess the best advice we can give people is to be aware of the difficulty and terrain ratings, and we'll show on the screen for the video version of the podcast what those are. But if you're looking at an Earth cache page, we'll describe the described audio. I think that's what they call this.
Yeah.
There'll be something called difficulty and terrain ratings over on the right-hand side of the page. And what you want to do is you want to look for one that has a in fact, actually, I stand corrected. It's at the top of the page, not on the right-hand side of the page. But there will be a star system that shows the difficulty and terrain rating. And you're going to be looking for one with a terrain rating that's within your hiking capabilities. Terrain means how difficult is it going to be to get to the places you need to go to answer the questions. And as Keats was saying, what you want to start with one with a lower D or difficulty rating. What that means, the questions will be easier. It means it'll probably be better explained. The observations won't be as difficult. So look for one that has a terrain rating that's within your hiking capabilities and a lower D rating. And that's a great place to start.
Yep, and also make sure to preview those questions before you leave the house.
Yeah.
You can get a sense of how easy or hard it will be. If you are hiking up to a very remote place, be sure to bring hiking boots and bring those 10 essentials, which we'll probably get into it on one of these episodes to come. And also, just kind of know what to expect. And that can all be pretty much done by reading the description.
Absolutely. So there you go. Some key tips for anybody to be able to get started at Earth caching. So if you listen to the previous episode, you understand the concept. And in this episode, we're going to help you out if you feel that you suck at geology because rocks are hard. So if and a little bit of a dad joke there, I apologize for that. But, we talked about the importance of reading through, of seeing if those questions make sense after you read through the description. And it's also important to take your time at the Earth cache site. Don't rush yourself.
Yeah, and just plan your trip so that you can have enough and adequate time at ground zero, and just to make sure that you've made all the observations. Make sure that you don't accidentally skip a question like I have done multiple times, and I've had to go back to the Earth cache site, which, I mean, I can't complain, but I've had to reread the description multiple times on many Earth caches. So fair warning.
And I think that's a really good point, is that if you're interested in trying some Earth caches, you need to make sure you allow an adequate amount of time. And the question is, what is an adequate amount of time? Well, it's really hard to tell. Sometimes in the description, they'll tell you how long it should probably take to make those observations. But in general, allow yourself about 10, 15 minutes at least at that location to make the observations and record them so that you have them for later, to answer the questions. Don't rush. I think the biggest thing I can say here is don't try and rush through an Earth cache. It'll be an unpleasant experience.
Yeah. If you have a limited time frame, just maybe save it for another day that you know that you have enough time to do it. And also, like, if the questions don't make sense to you, feel free to reach out to the EarthCache owner. I mean, EarthCache owners love to have people inquire further about what to answer on the EarthCache page.
Most of them do. Yeah.
Most of them do, yeah. But I know that there are a number of people that would be very happy to reach out to you for guidance, and that's something that what's great about the geocaching community, and from the impressions that I've gotten in the past 10 years, people are very nice, and I know that people are also very helpful. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out to the cache owner.
Yeah, I would say, in support of what Keats is saying, like every other aspect of the game of geocaching, EarthCache owners want their EarthCaches to be found, just like geocache owners want their geocaches to be found in general. I mean, they don't want them to be found by accident. They don't want people to just be able to record, oh yeah, I found it, but they didn't really. So, there's a certain degree of qualifying that you understood what was done that needs to be dealt with. But the EarthCache owners want you to find their EarthCaches. They want you to answer them. They want it to be fun. They want to help you learn something and make it fun. So definitely, like he said, if you're reading through it and you're just scratching your head, you're not sure, definitely one place to get some help is to just ask the EarthCache owner.
Yes. And you could also ask a friend, to get their own interpretation of what the EarthCache is. I've had to ask a whole bunch of people about certain things regarding gneiss, for example, a type of rock that we'll probably discuss in further detail in future episodes. But there are a number of people out there that are very knowledgeable, and I'm sure we will be having them on the podcast very soon. Just reach out.
Yeah, it's good advice. So the last thing that I will share with you, listener, regarding the concern of what if I suck at geology, is in the end, just try your best. Try your best to answer the question. Most often, the EarthCache owner is going to be very understanding. As we said, they're going to be very helpful.
And I mean, it's rare that a cache owner will say wrong deleted log, but they might ask you to clarify something, even if they're not sure of your answer. It shows that you've actually visited the site. Just make sure that you might take some photos of the cache site. Heck, maybe a selfie at ground zero. But it's the biggest thing that EarthCache owners want you to demonstrate is that you are trying and that you are learning about that geology aspect that they're wanting to teach you. And I think that evidence of effort in your log entry and the evidence of effort in your email that you're going to send to them or message that you're going to send to them will speak volumes, especially also how that EarthCache owner will respond to you. They might ask for further details on certain questions, and sometimes they might be like, yeah, you answered it okay enough, and so for the most part, just kind of make sure that you are demonstrating to them that you care about their EarthCache and that you want to contribute to a good log entry once you claim a find on the EarthCache. But yeah, just make sure that you demonstrate effort when logging an EarthCache online.
There you go. And the reality is, knowing that going into this, it is going to be a little bit of work. It's going to be a bit of homework. You're going to have to make some observations, answer some questions, put in a little bit more effort than you would when you're logging any other type of geocache online. And that's the nature of the beast. So when we're thinking about that, that then raises the question, well, how much understanding of geology is enough? Like, how much do I need to know before I can get out there and try this?
Well, I mean, the thing is, a well-made EarthCache shouldn't require that you have prior knowledge of geology. The most important thing in the description is that it shows you and it gives you a synopsis of what this particular geological formation is, and that they kind of explain to you, okay, from in layman's terms, why this sea stack is here, and the talk about basalt rock, for example. So it's up to the EarthCache owner to provide a description that is suitable for people who don't know anything about geology.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, and that's on the EarthCache owners. That is the EarthCache owner's responsibility.
It really is. Now, EarthCaches are reviewed, and that's something, again, in a future episode, we're going to talk a lot more about the review and publishing process for EarthCaches. But it's important to also recognize that not all EarthCaches are created equal, and not all are equally well written. Now, you've heard Keats talk about try and make sure that they're written at a sort of a grade 9 comprehension level, and that's what you should expect going into this. You don't need to have a foundation in geology before you get in and try and tackle your first EarthCache. Tripping over my words there. But again, it's important, as we said earlier, check those difficulty ratings. Review the write-up. Sadly, there are going to be some EarthCaches, I hate to say it, but there will be some that are basically just a copy and paste of an internet write-up. It's also possible that the EarthCache owner themselves may not really understand what it is that they're sharing with you. But those are rare. In most cases, my experience, I've done a lot of EarthCaches, and in my experience, in general, the EarthCache owners have taken the time to make sure they themselves understand what they're communicating, what they're teaching, and to relate it and teach it in a very digestible, accessible manner. So, know what you're getting into. Take a read through it first, but most of the time, it's going to be pretty good. And there's different ways that you'll experience an EarthCache. Keith, what are some different types that you might experience?
One of my favorite ways to obtain answers to an EarthCache are interpretive signs, because it is so clear on the interpretive sign, this is what I'm supposed to write down. I always make sure I read through the sign entirely and absorb what I am taking in. Of what this EarthCache talks about. But interpretive signs are quite important. Sometimes you'll need to make assessments, based on what you see and what you read. So
how tall do you think it is? How far down do you think it goes? Things like that.
Sometimes, you might be asked to bring a ruler, and that's very rare occasions, but this is why reading the description is so important, because you might, for the most part, EarthCache owners will be like, estimate the size of this. You don't need to have a ruler, but there have been a few times where you might be asked, okay, how many centimeters is this? So just make sure that you read that description. But always, like anything else in life, you get out of things what you're willing to put into them. So, just the most important thing that EarthCaches should cover is just making it that EarthCache descriptions are simple to read, and that you're able to kind of absorb that information more clearly. We really hope that you'll come along with us and as we continue to explore and learn, because Jay and I are both learning through this, and it's going to be very eye-opening for, I think, for both of us, that there are so many EarthCaches out there to look at, and there may not be a physical container at that EarthCache site, but the most important thing that EarthCaches will teach you about is why the Earth is what it is. And I think that's something that we, as geocachers and as people on this great planet of ours, need to learn more about. Yeah.
Great points, Keats. Absolutely. So we are on a learning adventure. We're not only going to learn about EarthCaches and the geology related to them, and help you, listener, be able to become more confident in your ability to accomplish those EarthCaches, to build up that geo cred, and get better and more confident at this as you go. But we're also hoping to expand that topic as we go through this entire series of these podcasts, and start to think about more interconnectedness. And again, we'll get into that later as we go. We really want to start with a foundation, and the foundation is the game. And the game is a great way for us to start interacting with more of the planet and understand what we're interacting with. So that's the parts that we're really excited about, and it begs the question of what do we do next? What's up next? And upcoming episodes are going to be about finding and logging EarthCaches. Episode 4, which is the very next one, features Cache Canada, some friends of mine from Ontario, and that episode is going to be super helpful. So make sure you check that one out.
And another upcoming episode on creating an EarthCache. We'll break it all down for your first attempt at creating one, or maybe you're a veteran at it, but want some pro tips, perhaps.
Who doesn't want a few extra?
Who doesn't want those pro tips?
There you go. And the most important thing is just look for that EarthCache icon on your app and give it a try. Get outside and have some fun.
And remember, listeners, we want you to come with us on this journey of discovery. So send us your questions, ideas, and feedback through our social media. Once we can get out and connect again, find us at events and chat with us too.
That's right, listeners. Be a part of our discussion. We want this show to include your thoughts and your input. Your thoughts matter to us. Okay, Keats, let's go.
Sounds good, Jay. I'm ready.
As you always are. This is Planet Earth is a Wander Network production, hosted by landmonkey.ca and produced by Jay Kennedy and Keats Morton. Join us every 2 weeks for new content and send us your feedback. This podcast can be downloaded from iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. The music is Hear the Noise by John Daly and the 41 Players, CC copyright fair use. This podcast content is copyright Creative Commons 3.0 2021 by J.J. Kennedy. Now, get out there and have another awesome spin around on our planet Earth.